got his own microphone here, and we have many, many special folks here with us today.
So many special people. First of all, thank you all so much again for coming. Let's just start right away. Judy Wood is here, and I'd like to introduce her.
To Sean and to Paul and to Dmitry. I want to tell you how the film was born. Dmitry was a clerk, the writer of the film, in my office, and I took him up to Lancaster with me to meet detainees and to try a case with me. And he actually won the case, a law clerk. He won his first case. And then one day he asked me what was the most interesting case that I had. And I had met a lot of women at that time from all over the world, and women who had suffered these atrocities that Asaf had suffered. There are many women all over the world like Asaf, and many of those women come here. And I think that this film is so important and so timely because just now we've come across a horrible decision from the Attorney General, which says that, well, it doesn't really matter what happens to women because asylum wasn't meant for these women. And we're not going to give up that struggle. We are going to win and reverse matter of AB.
That was a lovely segue. I'd like to introduce our screenwriter, Dmitry Portnoy. I'd like to introduce our producer, Paul Giaconi-Beery. And I would like to bring to the stage our executive producer, and well, what can you say? He played Ray Hernandez and has been in all of my films. The amazing Alfred Molina. How about right here? Perfect. All right.
Yeah, hey, Judy.
Here we are.
You want to sit?
Hey, Dmitry, did you want to say a little bit more about how working with Judy was and how, that first conversation went where you found out about this story?
One of the things that I want you to know about what it's like working with Judy Wood is it's how fun it is. She has so much energy. She pulls you into a vortex of knowledge and compassion. And when you come up at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. with a winning argument or something you feel might be a winning argument, it's the greatest feeling in the world. I'm a refugee. When I was up in Lancaster, in the very facility where Sean shot the film, I was sitting across the glass from a man about my age from India. And he talked about his life in India and why he had to leave and why he came to the United States and what he was doing here and his family. And just a bell went off in my head. Why am I on this side of the glass? And why is he on that side of the glass? It was because of Judy that I had that realization, and that was the genesis of the movie.
And maybe Sean, this can be for you and Judy and any of us that are up here. Can you just tell us about those early conversations that you had as a director, knowing you were going to be at the helm of this project and making such a big impact like you just did?
Absolutely. It was about almost exactly 3 years ago to the day that Dmitry and I sat down, and he started telling me this story. And I don't know, I was never one to think that I would direct a, kind of what you would, I guess, call a legal drama. But he started telling me about, well, first of all, the incredible work this woman did, and how these two women, through their courage and bravery with a lot at stake, were able to actually change the law and save thousands of women's lives. So I was in at that point. But then when Dmitry was painting these pictures of the fact that the burden of proof is on the refugee, and a judge gets to sit literally in judgment in a dusty trailer in the desert, I was like, I've never seen that before. That's something I think we need to see. I think we need to see the inside of these detention facilities. I think we need to see the faces of these people. And so I was, the minute he told me, I was in. The next day I went to Paul, I said, hey, Dimitri's got a really good idea. And then Paul was in, and then we went to meet Judy for the first time. And that's a revelation. So that was the genesis. Literally, it was, I asked Dmitry, I said, we've known each other since we went to film school together at USC. And I sat down and I said, Dmitry, we've known each other 25 years, why have we never worked on anything together? And he said, this is great, he goes, funny you should mention that. And he ripped into this story for 20 minutes, and I was just, it's amazing.
That's great. That's it. And maybe we can pass the mic back to Judy. I want to ask her a question. I mean, Judy, we've just seen a film about what is your life story, essentially. This is your life's work now in a film, and you've been trying to make an impact as an individual with people like Dmitry and your team to do as much good as you can for as long as you can. What do you think a film like this can do? Because this topic there is no more timely and important topic like this.
I think this film is tremendously important because it gives a human face to the suffering that's endured by these people. I know that men suffer too. I don't mean to just talk about women, but this case and this film focuses on women. And women all over the world are punished for thinking. Women are raped, imprisoned, horribly tortured for the mere fact that they have a mind and use it. And that has to change. That simply has to change. It's changed, and now that it's going backwards now, and we have to move it forward again.
And Sean, to get this message out to the world, not only you and Dmitry working together, after it took you guys too long to work together, let's be honest.
I know, it really did.
That was Dmitry, way to bury that, just to go, I'm gonna change your career. Tell me a little bit about bringing the cast together, because there are so many fabulous actors, and one of them is sitting right here, and the other right here. We have a cameo right here.
The Ninth Circuit Court bailiff.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a classic.
The greatest thing happened, though, we had this amazing, thanks to Fred. Well, first of all, thanks to Fred, Alfred Molina, Fred, who has been a champion of my writing, and in this case, Dmitry wrote this, but my directing work. He's agreed to sign on to these projects. I actually am pleased to say that my next project and Paul's will be producing Alfred's directorial debut. Would you?
I think I just shot myself.
So when you start, first of all, when you start with a true story and a really well-written script, and then you ask your dear friend and one of the best actors in the world to play one of the leads, or one of the leading roles in the film, Alfred Molina, other actors sit up and take notice. And they start to gravitate, and then you get, it's just a great good fortune. I mean, I'll say this, I was interviewing, they were interviewing me, leads for the movie, and we were doing a lot of that before the election, and then the election happened, and I can tell you, the tenor of those conversations changed completely. The interest in making, they went from a film that they were interesting human, human rights, human drama, to a film that everybody I met with said, this has to be made, and we have to make it now. So we landed the completely underrated Michelle Monaghan. As she and Judy, the soul and the spirit are identical. I mean, you two are such beautiful people. Absolutely. And Lean Lubani, we saw, oh my gosh, we saw tape on her, and we were like, this is amazing. This is an amazing actress who stole. She didn't rock the Casbah. She stole the movie from the movie. She's just this amazing, and she grew up. She's Muslim and Israeli, living in a Muslim majority city of Nazareth. So she had lived the life like Asaf had. She was, she's being an actress, and her friends were all getting married. And anyway, she's such an amazing find for us. I gotta have lunch with Common, and I'm telling you, he has a cool radius of about 6 meters. And if you're anywhere within distance, everybody just kind of drops what they're doing and look at you. He was beautiful as Benjamin. But that's everybody. I mean, we had Amy Garcia, and who was brilliant. She was here, but had to run to another premiere that she had tonight. Michael T. Williams and Peter Krause. I'm going to forget everybody, but it was
Alfred.
So this judge we had, played by Alfred Woodard, obviously. Truly, I mean, that was like a pleasure of my life to be able to direct her. She's everything. So I think that's,
Yeah.
okay.
Sean, I just like the idea of you like being crafty with Common and somebody going, who's that guy with Common eating baby carrots? Oh, that's the director of the film. Oh,
That's what it's like. No, we were walking out of lunch. And I gave the valet my ticket, and I pulled out a 20, and he just looked at Common the whole time and walked away. And I was like, that's amazing.
I just saved $20.
Yeah, well, it was amazing. Just the way people look at him, he's phenomenal. So
Yeah.
And let me, Alfred, I want to ask you a question about, Sean just alluded to it, your friendship and your background. Have you two worked together before, or has it been a quarter century like he and Dmitry?
No. Sean and I have been friends since the mid-90s, I think, when I first came to live in California, when Sean was still writing and directing for the theatre. He's turned his back on the boards now. But we were involved together then, and we've stayed friends, and it's been my privilege to have been sort of involved with all of Sean and Paul's projects, and long may it continue. But I think something that Judy said that I think is really important is that this film totally opens up this notion of not just timeliness. There's something about these kind of movies with these human stories that always pique people's interest. People kind of go, oh, this is interesting, this is fascinating. But the difference between that and this story is that this has a kind of imperative to it that goes beyond any kind of artistic or creative considerations. We're dealing with something which is absolutely at the core of all our freedoms, all our rights, and it spoke to me in a very much the same way that it spoke to Dmitry. That I'm the son of immigrants. My parents emigrated to England. I have immigrated to America. So this story. Now I've been very lucky because I'm a middle-aged white man, so no one's going to stop me at the border. But that doesn't change the fact that for so many people, just the nature of deciding to step from your country to another country, whatever it is you're looking for, freedom, economic freedom, a chance to get educated, a chance to live a life that's not sort of hampered by oppression in any way. just the very fact of that decision suddenly becoming something that can actually threaten your life. I think that is what is at the heart of this movie. And when Sean told me the story, I think quite soon after he had the conversation with Dmitry, I sort of went, oh yeah, I'll lurk in a doorway. I'll do craft service. And I was there at craft service when Common and Sean enjoyed. It wasn't a baby carrot. It was a donut. And don't let Common tell you any different. He eats donuts.
You felt the radius as well.
Oh, the radius goes beyond 6 feet or 6 meters. You feel it when you're kind of getting in the car to go to work. You know, when the driver says, "So you're making a movie with Common?" And you kind of, but it was such a thrill. I mean, this is a fantastic cast, and it was a real honour to be part of it. I'm talking too much.
So we do have a little bit of time, and thank you all for staying. I'd love to open things up, and I'm sure there are some questions floating around out there. So please, if you'd like to ask anyone up here a question, raise your hand. I'll do my best to beat the spotlight.
Yeah, it's like the
Yes, all the way to the side. In the bright white shirt. Yes, please.
I'm Sue with the Muslim Public Affairs Council's Hollywood Bureau, and when we were given a slate of films to sponsor and support, this was the one we wanted to do, and just thank you for making such a fabulous film, not only about the asylum issue and the treatment of women, but just the how Islam is perverted and misunderstood by Muslims. And so thank you for that. And it had just so many layers to it. And it was very witty. So thank you for that too. Very clever. So really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. You doing your organization has been very supportive of the film, and we're so grateful. So thank you.
Now, Sean, are you taking credit for that wit, or are we giving that all to Dmitry?
Let's give it all to Dmitry.
Sean deserves a lot of credit for that.
Are you
win.
being very
Sean is
kind?
the funny one. He,
We're there laughing at your joke.
it's in the timing, and Sean directed these actors. The way I described the movie to Sean when I saw it for the first time, when I saw the cut for the first time, it's like a stone skipping across deep water, and the water is very deep, but the stone has to skip, otherwise you're just sweeping all the time. And Sean made the stone skip really well.
Yeah, thanks, John.
He's a fantastic director.
Yes, Miss right here.
I just want to say, you didn't just make a great movie about a hero, you made a great movie about a female hero. And it's kind of pretentious to say, I'm extremely proud of the four of you for making a story. Of course I'm proud of Judy, I love Judy, but you guys made a story about a female hero for us. I want to go to the movies and see female heroes. So thank you.
Well, you're so welcome. And I mean, Judy is a hero for our times. She's a hero we need now. And that's why this story is so important. But thank you very much. It's a real honor. I just feel like Paul and I and the rest of us are so lucky to have been in the position to hear this story when we did. And, anyway, thank you.
Any other? Yes, sir, right here.
First, Judy, you're a champion for those who are in need. I've known your name for at least 15 years, and I can't tell you what I work for, but I would ask people, who is representing Judy Wood? And well, good, you're a champion of finding these loopholes. It's amazing. And time where I feel like we're losing hope, where individuals are losing their blue cards and are getting kicked out of the country. Is there hope? I'm looking, you are the expert. Is there hope? Should we go for things to change?
Should we
Is
be
there
hopeful? Is there?
The hope is the whole thing. Never give up. Keep on the fight. You have, se puede. You have to continue to struggle. Because if you don't, what is there? You absolutely must have faith and continue to struggle. I believe that with every fiber in my being.
I think we have time for one or two more questions. Oh, yes, right here. The shout out, that is bold, I like it. Yes, please.
What was the hardest part of making a movie?
I'm gonna leave that to you.
Yeah, the producer's gonna answer that.
Yeah, Paul, you can't say all of it.
Somebody cares what the producer has to say. No, look,
That's enough.
you know, this is the film business is really hard, and it's difficult to make a film like this. You know, a film like this, you know, a few decades ago would have a studio behind it and a budget, and you'd be able to go do things. And now it's, you know, I'm working craft service because we gotta save every penny. So
Commons there, everyone's drawn to.
well,
craft
and it's
services.
great. Yeah, and they eat everything. No, it's really it's one of these things. The great advantage that we have on a film like this, even though, you know, we don't have the resources that we want to have. Sean doesn't have the extras that he wants to have. We don't have as many shooting days as we want to have. We don't have any of that stuff. But we have people who want to be a part of it because you're telling a story that everybody is drawn to. I mean, and this film had its own gravity and brought everybody into it. And there was not a single person, from PAs to movie stars, who came in to this for the wrong reason. Everybody came into it for the right reason. And so that makes the struggle of not having the things that you really wish you have worthwhile.
Yeah.
And get you up every morning.
And I think I saw I've got one hand, yes, right, miss right here.
I just have a question since we have Judy here, which is such an amazing. Oh, can you hear me? Should I speak up?
She can't, but I'll tell her.
Okay.
We'll pass it down, we'll telephone her.
We'll tell her.
I was saying it's so amazing that you're here, and I'm curious to know what led you to immigration and this line of work in the first place, and how, you know, you became a hero. You are a hero to so many people, and how that started. What was the little
What
kernel
drew
in
you to immigration?
How do I see the trend now in immigration?
No. What drew you?
What drew me?
Yes.
My attraction to it? Well, I actually was a public defender, and there's a scene in the movie. There was a time in my life when I wasn't going to be a public defender anymore. I had decided, and there was a scene in the movie when the character St. Judy is walking through these jail cells, and these hands are moving out to her. And I actually had that experience of, I had heard about the sanctuary movement and all the people that were in jail in Central America, particularly in El Salvador. And I had heard a poem about it actually by another woman poet. And after I heard that poem, I was trying to figure out and meditate and pray about what I should do next after I finished my public defender job. And I got this sort of vision of these hands, just like the movie, coming out of carcels and jail cells and saying my name, actually. And it was so moving to me that I decided to come to Los Angeles and help these people. And I had heard a poem. If you can just bear with me, this is kind of a long story, but the poem that I heard that kind of brought me from New Mexico to California was actually about a man in a cage in El Salvador, in a political dissident prison there. And in the cage, he was tortured and he couldn't walk or stand up anymore because of it being in this cramped space. And they had tortured him in horrible ways. I'm not going to tell you all of it. Well, one of my very first cases, when I came to Los Angeles, pretty much on the call of this vision, was a person, a young man, who had actually been put in one of these cages in El Salvador. And I listened to his story and we won. So And when we won his case in court, and in those days, in the 1980s, there were streams of refugees coming in from Central America and El Salvador, and the judges were saying, well, you know, they're all suffering, it doesn't matter. Their hearts had grown cold toward these people. But we were able to win, and we kept rolling and winning more and more of them. So I really felt like I had done the right thing from moving from New Mexico to Los Angeles to get involved with this whole refugee situation, that it was really a calling, and I was doing the right thing by following that voice.
Okay, and folks, just before, I know I saw a couple of their hands, before we wrap up tonight, Sean just wanted to mention a few other special people who are here in the audience tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I can see this group in front, so I'm just gonna thank, our composer, James Sale, he stand up. Our editor, Ian Reckencoin. Thank you. Our associate producer, Trevor Brisbane. Standing. Executive producer, Kelly Call. Let's see, I've got a lovely actor, a couple of actresses from the film. One is sitting right there. My daughter, Roxy Hanish. Stand up, stand up. Oh, don't stand up. She's right there. Right there. Pink jacket. Samira, are you here? Samira Izadi. Thank you. She plays the mother of Africa. I'm going to miss her folks because I can't see. When the other folks stand up, I've got a bright light on my face. Who worked on the film? Who I haven't mentioned? Is that it? Okay. Thank you all.
All right, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, one more round of applause for this whole team, the whole team here, and the work here at St. Judy. Thank you for